All right, everyone. We have a really special guest here today. We have Tennyson Whiting. He is a professional tennis player and a doubles specialist. So he's here to answer a couple questions about his tennis career. So if you want to maybe go ahead and introduce yourself, give us a little bit of your tennis background, and then we'll get started.
Cool. Well, she said basically everything. Tennyson Whiting, double specialist. Grew up in Utah, lived there till I was 15 years old. Then decided I wanted to take tennis more serious and moved to Vegas. Trained there with some professionals, Dan Battistone and his son Sam, and then took off to Guatemala. My dad got a job down there and lived there for 2 years training. I trained with the Davis Cup coach and player Walter Badona. And then after that, I moved to Florida and started playing futures. And when I was living in Florida, I trained with my first coach, Dan, his brother, Brian Battistone. And the Battistone family is the family that basically owns the company for the tennis racket that I use. So that's why I connected with them.
Awesome. Very cool. Well, I guess to kind of tie everything together, how did you meet James and/or Fitterer for the first time? How did he get you hooked into his YouTube channel?
Yeah, so I was hitting serves at a tournament at a challenger in Tallahassee, and he was just there admiring my amazing kick serve, I guess. I don't know. And came up and asked me to do a pro-am, and me and Kelsey Stevenson went and played with him and his friend and had a good time, and just kind of stayed in touch ever since then.
Very cool. Awesome. So in your tennis career, you did play college tennis at some point, right?
I did, yes. I played at BYU, Brigham Young University, out of Utah in 2022, January of 2022. Played the season there.
Gotcha. So did you just play one season?
Just one season, one semester. I wasn't smart enough to stick around, so too much school,
Gotcha.
not enough time.
Yeah. How did you decide that you wanted to play college tennis, and do you feel like it helped develop your tennis as a whole?
That's a good question. The first one's simple. My aunt's uncle was the coach of BYU at the time, and he gave me a call and said, Tennyson, I have a spot open. I can give you full scholarship if you want to come and play. I know you're playing pro right now, but if you want to come, we can help develop your tennis, pay for some school for you. And it sounded like a pretty dang good deal. And I hadn't been living in Utah for a while, and I'd missed my buddies and my family, so it sounded like a good time to get some good training in, as well as school and being at home with friends and family. So I took him up on it. And then on the side of developing my tennis, that part of the question is a little bit more difficult. Had I stuck around in Florida and just trained full time, would I have developed more or less? It's tough. I mean, I don't regret playing at all, but it's definitely a different scenario. It's a different scene playing college tennis than it is being on the tour full time.
Gotcha. So you played professionally, then did a period at college, then you went back to playing professionally.
Yeah, so I got up to like 800 in the world, and that's when he recruited me to come play at BYU. So I took the 4 months off, and I didn't play hardly anything. Part of the deal was that I could play and travel to tournaments when we didn't have matches, and so I think I only traveled to 2 different futures during the course of my season there. So I didn't drop too much in the ranks, but at the same time, I didn't move up at all either.
Gotcha. Well, when did you determine you were going to mostly focus on doubles? And are you still playing a little bit of singles, or is it primarily just doubles now?
I decided to focus on doubles when I kind of realized that I wasn't really good enough at singles. No, everybody in singles is playing just amazing tennis from the time they're 5-6 years old. Like they're always the guys that are winning the 10 and unders, the 12 and unders, the top top juniors playing the junior slams, and they just hit ground strokes all day for years. So I kind of realized if I wanted to excel in the sport, I'd have to focus on doubles. And I enjoy the team aspect of doubles a lot more. You know, it's less lonely. Right now, I'm splitting this Airbnb with my doubles partner this week, Roy Stepanov, and it's less lonely. It's less of a grind, I guess. But
Definitely a little less cardio, which is nice.
yeah. I mean, it would be cool to be in better shape, you know, if I played singles. But no, I've actually played 3 singles matches this year, pretty close ones against very solid competition, and it was fun. I mean, I haven't really given singles the training necessary to confidently say like I should win those matches, you know, as I shouldn't, I guess, you know, just focusing on doubles. But they were all competitive matches, and I enjoyed playing them. So I think I will continue to sign for singles here and there, and just
Gotcha.
you know, extra paycheck for playing 2 hours of tennis.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, yeah. Not bad. So how do you pick your partners?
It depends. I mean, sometimes you can scan the list of the singles players that are signed up for tournaments and see like, oh, I know this guy, or I've seen this guy play before. I'm gonna shoot him a message on Instagram or something, or you can just text the double specialists purely, and just be like, hey, this is the set schedule that I want to play. Do you want to do like a Euro swing with me? Do you want to do a South America swing with me? Most guys from the ranks of 500 to 200 usually play 3 or 4 weeks together, and then they move on to like another partner. Once you get to like the top 200, it's usually more common to set like 6 months aside
Okay,
to play
that's interesting.
with one person, and then you try to really go up in the ranks together as a team. Because once you get to like the top 50, if you're playing with a team, then you can qualify for what they call the NITO ATP Finals, which
Mhm.
is the end of the year tournament, and you have to play it with the person that you've earned the most points with that year. And
Okay.
it's a pretty big paycheck. So most of the guys usually want to be able to qualify for that. And if you're playing with different guys every week, then you kind of disqualify yourself, basically.
Yeah. Ooh, that's interesting. So sometimes you might, like, depending on your schedule, you try to line it up with somebody else and maybe play like a chunk of stuff together and then switch around.
Yeah, and if it goes well, then you stick together. And you most partnerships have their up and downs, so that's common. But
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's always good to be able to find the chemistry with certain guys, and like being on the court and off court chemistry as well.
Yeah. How many bad matches do you give it until you're like, all right, we just don't vibe?
Some guys would just say one. Sometimes, I'm usually more of like a 3 kind of guy. Like if we play 3 weeks, because I mean, three bad matches is it's 3 weeks. So
Yeah.
usually that's plenty of time. 21 days is plenty of time to really, I guess, know if you're not vibing together. Because you're practicing with the partner almost every day as well. So if it's just not meshing, then you can, I don't know, tell them to take a hike, I guess.
Oh, so sad. But no, makes sense. So what kind of do you have any sponsorships? How do they work? How do you find them? How do they find you?
Yeah, so social media is really big, for a lot of guys being able to, I guess, build a profile of themselves, and it helps if you're, I guess, good looking or French or Italian or something. Speaks in other language, and
Yeah.
companies are like, oh yeah, that's good. So trying to work on the French and Italian part. Good looks I gave up on a long time ago. So the clothing sponsorship I have is it's an American brand. It's called Leo Rivet. It's actually, the word is French. I'm not sure why, but it's cool. It's good clothes, and they send me shipments of their stuff every 4 months, 5 months, and then they don't pay me right now. The deal that I have with them is if I crack top 250 in doubles, there will be financial incentives. Don't know exactly what that means, but sounds good.
Yeah.
And then my racket company, the Battistone two-handled rackets, gives me rackets for free, which is big. Because rackets, string, clothes, shoes, it all adds up big time. Yeah. So, and then besides that, I got Daddy Warbucks. My dad is helping me out a lot. And then, playing challengers, they pay for your hospitality. And then if you win a few rounds, you actually get a decent paycheck to usually cover your flight and some food for the week. So playing challengers, if you're smart about it, you can be actually in the green. Playing futures, if you're doing really well and winning or finaling the tournament, you're pretty close to cutting it, even. But most of the time, you're still spending more than you are making.
Yeah.
So the goal is to play a lot.
Yeah. What's like the tier level in terms of
so it starts
your challengers?
Yeah, it starts futures, which are like 15Ks and 25Ks. And then it goes up to challengers, and the lowest challenger they have is a 50. And then it goes from 50 to 75, 100, 125, I think 175 as well. And then they have ATP 250s, 500s, Masters 1000s, and then Grand Slams. So yeah, it's a big old hierarchy. It's pretty tough to climb up, but once you get up there, it's a lot of moolah, which is nice.
Oh yeah. So going back to the racket, how did you determine that a two-handled racket was for you? What are some pros and cons to using that? Because I have never seen one. I've never heard of one.
Yeah,
pretty cool.
Most people haven't. Yeah, all pros. Got nothing but good to say about it. I started using it when I was a kid, so I never have to switch. My dad met Brian when Brian was coaching at BYU. He was an assistant coach, and him and his brother Dan were coaching there, and they basically used it while they were playing professional tennis. Brian got up to 88 in the world in doubles, and my dad was sold. Was convinced that I needed to use it and take it to the top. So it's a really good training tool when you start teaching tennis to someone who has never played. Usually all the motion is just with their arm, right? They just swing just here. But a good tennis stroke is cocking your wrist back, turning your shoulders, following through the ball, keeping your head down. And with the two-handled racket, if you're holding both hands, then you have to turn your shoulders, which you get a lot of the power from your hips and your shoulders and just a solid base foundation, So it makes you have good form, basically.
So do you still have a one-handed forehand, though?
I do, yeah. So once you learn that good form, you can then let go of the left hand and hit ambidextrous, basically, which a lot of the guys that use the racket will play two forehands and or two backhands. Like Brian, he'll serve lefty, serve righty. He'll return with both hands because it's more compact, it's more solid, and then the forehands he'll let go and just rip.
Cool. So it's pretty versatile, you would say.
And then my big thing. Sorry.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
Go ahead. So you go.
Is it handle heavy? Like, is there a lot of weight in that end of the racket?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So the balance is all the weights in the handles, and it's a pretty light racket. The one that I use, it's 303, which is like 20, 30 grams lighter than most, but it's 29 inches long. So it's like an inch and a half long than most rackets. Yeah.
I'd have to give one a try just to see. Maybe it'll be life-changing.
I'm surprised. I don't know if I left one with James. I should have. Darn it.
I will have to ask him for that.
I'll have to send him one, yeah.
Sorry, what were you saying after I cut you off 5 times?
No, I think I cut myself off. The angles of the handles. For me, I love the serve. The kick serve is really good with this racket because the weight from that other handle being behind kind of creates a little bit of a torque, and then the angle of the racket's more closed, so you kind of come up over the top of the ball a little bit better. And with the racket, if you're holding here, kind of tough to show you on the video, but if you're going for a forehand and you're holding the back handle, you can, which is the handle that I hold, you can switch and hold this handle, the inside one, and then it gives you more reach to kind of come around the outside of the ball. Like if you're really stretched, a lot of times when I'm on the full stretch for like a forehand, you can just turn and kind of like slice it off out to the side and gives you good reach, as well as like kind of like a backhand slice.
Nice. Very cool. Yeah, I'll have to see if he has one because that'd be fun to hit with and just see what the difference is.
Yeah, it's a
Okay,
wild ride.
Okay, if you were not pursuing tennis, what would you be doing?
I'd be a hobo, I guess, a vagrant. I have no idea what I would be doing in my life. Probably be back at BYU, finishing up school, studying some business. I don't know. My dad's into real estate, and I'd probably do something along the lines of real estate with him. Yeah.
Nice. So then on your, like, let's say you get a day off from tennis completely, what would you do?
Yeah. Depends on where I am. I mean, Roy and I were actually talking about, we're not too far from Geneva at this tournament here. We're about an hour away from Geneva, Switzerland.
Okay.
And there's a really nice lake there that we were thinking about going, renting a car and taking the day at the end of the tournament, going and visiting it, jumping in, swimming around a little bit. Big nature guy. I love going on hikes, swimming in lakes, rivers, whatever. Sunsets, sunrises.
Very sweet. So tennis is probably up your alley, getting to travel so much then.
Yeah, definitely. It's really nice. I mean, a lot of the times, like 2 weeks ago, I was going on a hike in Martos. There's a cool 45-minute hike up to the top of this like castle overlooking the city, and it was just phenomenal, breathtaking.
Very nice. So do you think this is something you're going to be pursuing like short term, see a lot of places, and then do something else, or long term, make a career out of it, or kind of depends?
Yeah, I guess it just depends. I mean, I want to be able to have success in tennis and make my living that way, because it really is a great vehicle for being able to travel and learn new cultures and experience and make friends and stuff. But obviously, I want to be able to settle down and start a family at some point, and have a home base, because raising kids on the road would be a little hectic.
I bet. Okay, I don't know who the French Bull is, but he wanted me to ask who is better, the French Bull or Fitterer?
The French Bull was who we played the Pro-Am with, and he was sweet. And he'll love that I'm in Lyon right now, Lyon, France. So if you watch this, French Bull, what up? Saludes. I don't know how to. That's Spanish. Just pretend I just do like a voice overlay or over.
We could do that with the perfect pronunciation. Yes.
There you go. Just hello from France, from Tennyson, from Lyon. French Bull, man, he was cool. Who was better? I can't say that. Can't put that out there publicly. They were equal on all terms.
Very politically correct answer. Very good. Awesome. And then I guess, did your parents just know you were going to play tennis with your name? Or was that like purely coincidental? It's given like tennis Sandgren vibes.
Yeah, exactly. I actually, funny enough, I played tennis Sandgren in Savannah, Georgia, a few years ago.
Oh, no, that's funny.
Every time everybody was cheering, I couldn't tell if they were cheering for me or for him. And he said after the match, he he couldn't tell either. So that was a fun match. And I actually, to add on to it, if I had won my match in Tennessee, I would have played him second round.
Oh, cool.
In Tennessee. So playing tennis against Tennyson in Tennessee. That would have been fun, but sadly I lost. So
in Tennessee.
Yeah,
nice.
It's a mouth.
Cool.
But yeah, to get back to your question, sorry, I'm diverting there. My dad played at Utah State when he was back in the 60s or whatever. You know, he's an old guy, so forever ago. He played there, and then basically always wanted tennis sons. So he had my older brother who he raised, and he played tennis, high school, #1 varsity or whatever, and then could have played college, but basically hated tennis. And so he pursued academic stuff instead. My second oldest brother played at Weber State in Utah collegiately. And then I came along at the very end, and he was like, all right, I'm going full commit on this one.
So it's going to be the
I actually was just like my oldest brother, Jerry. I hated tennis until I was like 14. Didn't ever really want to go play. I was much more of like a basketball, football, those team sports. And I think that's honestly what influenced me the most into choosing doubles, was that I grew up playing team sports, and it was just so much more fun.
Yeah.
You know? So
I bet.
Then when I was like 15, 16, when I moved to Vegas, I kind of realized like, okay, if I want to pursue a sport professionally, it's probably going to have to be tennis, because I'm 6 foot, I'm white. I'm probably not going to be able to make it in the other two. So that's why I chose tennis.
Checks out.
And my dad was happy with it, obviously.
Oh, I bet. He's probably stoked. So I guess lastly, what's like a typical day in your life like? What do you do?
Typical day. Well, today's a little bit different because it's Sunday. I was trying to find a church to go to earlier in the morning. I usually don't play on Sundays, train or any of that. I'll try to, like, if I have a match on Sunday, I'll play, but I try to avoid best I can. Religiously, I'm Mormon, so no Sunday. Try to keep the Sabbath day holy, kind of thing. But today I went with Roy, and I just fed him some balls and helped him practice a little bit. Tomorrow is going to be a much more average day in the life. We have a practice set up at like 8, so we'll get up probably around 7, have breakfast, we'll walk to the courts. It's like 15 minutes away. Practice for probably an hour and a half, stretch, come back, shower, chill, and then have some lunch, and then we'll go back out for a second session probably around 4. And then I don't know, just take it from there, have dinner, come back, maybe watch some Netflix, chill, go to bed.
What shows are you watching right now?
I'm super close to finishing The Office. I only have a few more episodes left, but I don't want to finish it, because when I finish it, I'm done.
Such a good
It's kind of depressing to be done. I'm also watching The Walking Dead because I have a few friends that want me to finish it. And honestly, like, I got more into it until like the last few seasons, because I don't know if you've seen it. I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but
I have. I don't think I'll watch The Walking Dead.
Yeah, you kind of lose interest a little bit. So I'm kind of grinding that one right now. You know, I just gotta finish.
Yeah, power through like the bad seasons.
Yeah, exactly. And then yeah, that's it. Just got 2 shows.
Very nice.
One happy comedy, and then one that's like dark and depressing, and everybody's dying all the time.
I feel like you need like the little 20-minute comical shows to just put on in the background of whatever you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. Just the about nothing shows. They're great.
Yes. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for answering some questions. Best of luck to you in your tournament, and we'll definitely keep up.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Katie. You're awesome.